Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you're absolutely welcome. My name is Fumi and I make videos from Warrior Delta State, Nigeria. So I am a cake baker and cake decorator in Warrior Delta State, Nigeria, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a traditional or cultural wedding cake. So if that's something you like, let's continue watching. So first of all, we're going to trim and stack our cake. The cake had a couple of fillings. So for this cake, I had caramel cake, light fruit cake, and vanilla cake. Those were the flavors that we had for this cake. So we're going to be decorating it step by step. When you want to cover a cake with fondant, there are different ways you can cover it. There's the panel method, and then there's the straight covering, which is you roll out a big piece of fondant and then you drop it on top of the cake. Now I find that the paneling method works for me. It's easier, it's straight to the point. So depending on what works for you, but this is what works for me, and I think you should try it out. It will really look nice for you. So if you want to learn how to trim your cake and stack it properly, I have a video. I'm going to be leaving it linked above. So check out that video if you want to actually learn how to trim, because I already made a detailed video. So first off, after doing that, roll your fondant as thin as you desire, and then I'm going to be cutting it and then adding it on the cake. So when I cover a square or any funny shaped cake, I usually will cover it in the panel method, which is the method I'm using right now. So basically what that means with panel is that I'm going to cover it in panels, just as the word implies. Basically, I'm going to roll out my fondant. My fondant already has CMC, so it's pretty thick, and then I'm going to put it as a panel against the body of the cake. I'm going to cut out the shapes. Then right now I'm using water and CMC, which is basically edible glue, and I'm using it to line the edges of our fondant that we have already cut, because we already placed it on the fondant. So now I'm going to be putting the next layer of fondant. So basically with the panel method is usually easier and more straightforward, especially if you're working with like square cakes, hexagon cakes. Even for round cakes, I feel like the finishing and the end result is usually way better than when you cover your cake full covering, which is maybe you just roll it and put all your fondant on top and then try to smoothen it out. This works out better for me. So after rolling it, putting your fondant on the cake, I'm going to smoothen it out. Make sure that you use your spooner to smoothen out the fondant so that it sticks to the cake properly. You know I already buttered the cake with buttercream. So I'm going to take a very sharp knife and then cut off the excesses. Now the reason why you need a sharp knife is so that you can get perfect edges. If you cut it with a blunt knife, by the time you're trying to cut, that knife is going to be pulling on the fondant. It's just not going to give you a neat. Make sure when you are doing this panel method, your last end should be your front. So you cover the two sides like I have done, like left and right, cover the back, and then come and cover the front. So what this does is it makes sure that the front of your cake is seamless. You do not have lines of like joined cakes and joint fondants and all that. So that's the reason why we do that. Now we're going to be covering the top. So to cover the top, we're going to butter it, because we have covered every other side. So butter the top of the cake and then put your fondant on top of it. You roll that fondant and then smoothing it out. So I'm going to turn the cake upside down. So after turning it upside down, now we're going to use our sharp knife again to cut off the excesses. As you can see, I'm trying to cut it off really straight. So straight lines are usually better at this point. And then after cutting it off, our cake is perfectly covered. As you can see, I've already put the cake board at the bottom. Our cake is looking good. So now I'm going to just add a little bit more butter, because I want it to really stick to that cake board, and then we're going to start assembling the cake. Now to assemble the cake, all that's at the bottom of the cake is like a cake dummy. So I just made a cake dummy at the bottom, and then it was covered with fondant. The cake board has been covered with fondant as well. So I'm just going to be putting the cake on top of it, and then we're going to be stacking it. If you like a video on how to properly stack your cake, how to properly dowel your cakes, those kind of things, please leave it in the comment section below and I'll make a detailed video. So after doing that, now we're going to start assembling. Guys, I have showed you how to make beads. I have a video on how to make beads and cola nuts and a couple of extra things. So I'm going to also be leaving that linked above so that you guys can check it out. So now it's time to assemble our cut-off pieces or our fondant pieces. If you can see with this fondant piece, I already colored it gold. I find that it's neater to do this as opposed to putting our pieces on the cake and then trying to color it gold. I found that when I color it gold on the board and then transfer it already painted gold to the cake, it usually turns out nicer. So it depends on what works for you, but this is what works for me, and I feel like this is the best way to do it all the time, especially because when you do it, it gives you more time to just get like a neater job. Your cake is neater, you don't have stains all around, those kind of things. So that's why this is my preferred way to do it. How do you do it when you cover your cake? Do you paint it first or do you fix it and then paint it? Please leave it in the comment section below. Our cake is beginning to take shape, it's beginning to look really nice. So I'm just going to be putting all the pieces that we have made, the cut off pieces that we made with a mold. I think I have a video on this channel showing how to use a mold, so I'm also going to be leaving it linked above. So if you have any problems with that, guys, you can just check out that video. It's well detailed, you will not have any confusion with that. So after that, now I'm putting the top, the bottom, and then I'm putting the legs. So what this does is it makes it look like those, if you can see the tiny fondant legs, it makes it look like that is what is carrying our cake. It's just like a gravity defying illusion kind of cake where we put our fondant pieces on the sides of the cake and then paint it gold and make it look like that's what carrying the weight of the cake, guys. So to do that, all you have to do is put styrofoam at the bottom like I did, and then put your legs, and it looks like that. So if you put your styrofoam at the bottom and then make sure that your styrofoam is covered the same color as the cake and the same color as the cake board, it's just going to give you that illusion that, oh, the cake is floating or the cake is suspended and that kind of thing. So now we're going to be putting the name. So I'm going to be using my glue gun to put the name on the cake. The name is already printed out. I printed it in a printing press, put it on fondant, and then we're going to put it on the cake. Now to cover the cake board, I'm also going to be using my glue gun and ribbons to cover the cake board so that the cake board looks very neat. Our cake looks very neat as well. For the topper, I got it in the market and then I put some glitter on top. So basically, after buying it from the market, I put gum on it and then I put some glitter on top just to give it extra shine. If you can see, it's very shiny. So the cake is going to be outdoor. So I wanted something that is going to really shine and going to look really nice. Guys, our cake is finally done. It is looking beautiful, looking nice with our beads and our cola nuts and our garden eggs and all that. Guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this cake. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.